Alright, so I just watched Roofman with Channing Tatum as the lead. And the movie as a whole was really unexpected, is the only way I can really describe it. Because I was like semi-interested in watching it purely just because of how many trailers there were in the theaters like for this movie. So I just felt almost like obligated to watch it for like how many times I've seen the trailer. So I was like, I might as well know what this movie's all about, you know what I'm saying? And it was based off of like real people and like real stuff. So I guess I probably could have just like looked it up if I was really that interested. But I wanted to watch a movie. I guess I wanted to watch the movie, and I'm glad I did because it was better than I expected it to be. In all honesty, because it was set up like as like a comedy, which like it was. You know what I'm saying? I'm not denying that, but it was also just like a really like emotional movie too, which I was just not expecting at all. But it really made the movie for me, honestly. Like it was really good. And it's basically like about like the Roofman, who is like Channing Tatum, but like the person's real life name is like Jeff. And basically like he was like he did something in the army for like whatever, and then he was pretty much like he had like no money, and like he had like separated from like his family and stuff, and then he was pretty much like, oh, I gotta support my family, which makes sense. And then he started like breaking into places and then like getting his money through that and doing that for like, I think they said he did that like 45 times. Like he just broke into a building, like took all their money, and then just like was like, I'm gonna spend this on my family, which is like, that was cool, you know. And then he ended up getting caught. Well, not really getting caught, but like the police showed up like when he was like throwing a party for his daughter or whatever. And then he pretty much like runs away, and then he gets sent to jail. And I was honestly a little worried that they were going to have like a long segment of like him in jail, and it was going to be like, oh, why are we watching this? But luckily that little segment of him in jail was like a couple minutes, because then like he broke out of there pretty quickly, which was nice. And then the big bulk of the story happens after this, where he pretty much like lives inside of a Toys R Us for like months, like 6 months, you know. And he basically like sets up his own little like surveillance cameras and stuff, and then he spies on, well, not really spies on, but well, I guess he technically is, because they're like little baby monitors that he put like in like the office area of like the Toys R Us. Oh yeah, Peter Dinklage was in this movie too, and he is a really good actor too. But what was it? Kirsten Dunst's character was named Lee, and basically like Channing Tatum and his character Jeff. Well, I say characters, but they're real people. You know, it's based off a real thing. But pretty much he was like spying on them, and then like Lee, or like, I'm just gonna say their actors' names because that's just weird. But Kirsten Dunst was pretty much just like yo, Peter Dinklage, you're like a really mean boss, you know. And then Channing Tatum was like seeing this like going down. He was like, I'm gonna put a stop to this, you know. And then he found out through the videos or like the monitors or whatever that like she like was like a church person and like had like a toy drive coming up. So obviously he's living inside the Toys R Us. He was like, let me just give these people some toys, you know what I'm saying? And then he was like integrating himself more and more like into like the church group or whatever. And it was pretty nice. And then like him starting his relationship with like Kirsten Dunst was like pretty nice to watch. And then like she had 2 daughters that he was like getting close with too. And it was like, this is great. But then like you kind of forget that like he's a criminal technically, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, oh yeah, you know, there's like a whole drama with that too. And it just balanced those things really well, of just like the tension of like, what if they find out, or like he's still doing bad things, you know what I'm saying? But then it's like counters that with like, oh, he's doing nice things for the family, you know, like getting like the older daughter like a car and stuff, and then just being a kind of like a cool guy, you know. And then they do that for like a good amount of the movie, which is nice because like it was good. And then towards the end, he's like behind their backs. He's just like, he's gonna like leave the country because obviously like he's still a wanted man, you know. So he's like, I'm gonna get out of here. He's like, I gotta get out of here. And then he starts working on his plan to like leave. And then there's like a set time for him to like go to the airport and just like leave and then just like never come back. You know what I'm saying? And then like Kirsten Dunst just like calls him, and then he's like, yo, it's like Christmas Day, you're still gonna come here, you know what I'm saying, right? And then he was like yeah, I'm still coming. And Channing Tatum like like when I think of good actors, I'm not thinking about Channing Tatum, right? You know, but it's like he was pretty good in this movie, especially like with like the emotional moments, like his just like, I guess like reactions and just kind of like expressions to things was just really like unexpectedly good. You know, because like I said, I don't think good actors and then think Channing Tatum, you know, but that was solid stuff. But then like she called him and she was like, "Oh, you're still gonna be here for Christmas, right?" And then he was like, "Yeah, you know. And then it was like this, like you just stuck with him in that moment, and it was pretty emotional. It was pretty good. And then like he missed his window to like go to the airport. So he was like, "I'm gonna go see this like new family, pretty much, you know, and like see them on Christmas." And then obviously it was a sting, you know. The cops were there, you know, and then he got arrested. And then the movie pretty much ended after that. You know, they did like a little thing where like she visited him, and then they were like, they had a nice moment, and then it ended. But then, you know, like every time they do a movie based off like real people, they're like, what are they doing now? You know, and it was pretty much just that the guy was like still in prison and he tried to break out like a couple more times. And it was a good movie, you know. I think it had the humor, it had the emotion, and I liked it, you know. So overall, ranking, definitely a 7. Which is like, that's not bad by any means, you know what I'm saying? But it's like it didn't do anything to like reach like to get like an 8 or above, you know what I'm saying? But it's like a 7 is like, that is a good spot, you know what I'm saying? So Roofman, unexpectedly good, 7 out of 10, quality movie. Yeah.